Hi, everybody. We are live. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. We are live on YouTube today, and I would love for you to drop us a comment. Tell us where you're from. I'm going to aim to follow along and see where you're from. Today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024. This is our, I like to say what? Monthly live stream parent alert. We are weeks away from back to school. Very exciting. Good and bad, I say. I'm a mom of two kids. I love having my kids home. I'm Jill Simonian with PragerU Kids. Again, drop a comment if you're watching live on YouTube, telling us what state you're in, or in some cases, what country you're in. This video will post to our website later, and it will go to Facebook later. But for now, we're live on YouTube. If you haven't already, before we get into this headline about the crazy, insane news that is constantly consistent, as I like to say, from California. Before we get into AB 1955 and what this new law actually means, I want to remind you to subscribe free to PragerUkids.com for wholesome, age-appropriate content that's educational and fun. We have this terrific Red, White, and You video watch challenge happening now for families to educate your kids and yourself, if you're like me, who you never learned it in school, about civics, freedom, equality under God, our United States history, world history, financial literacy, all the things, all free, PragerUkids.com. And if you've been enjoying our parent alerts for staying informed and active in your child's school and to understand what's happening in our education system across the country, visit us at PragerU.com/parentalert. Everything is free for all. If you subscribe for free, you'll get it all delivered to your inbox every week, a few times a week. Okay, let's jump into the headline now. It's this summer's very recent big news, big news from California. AB 1955. Leave us a comment if you know what we're talking about here. Leave me a comment again if you're from California. This new law, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, essentially strips parental rights. It goes into effect on January 1st, 2025. This new law, which I'm going to go through bits and pieces here, but I encourage you to look it up on your own. This new law prohibits educators, teachers, administrators from sharing gender identity information of students K through 12 with their own parents. We're talking about pronouns, bathroom use, locker room use. If a pupil, kindergarten through 12th grade in a California public school, goes to an administrator, goes to a counselor, an educator, a teacher, a staff assistant, asking for help and information about their gender identity, requesting to change pronouns, requesting to change locker rooms, requesting to change bathrooms, educators are now, according to AB 1955, signed into law this last week in July 2024, California's Gavin Newsom, educators are not allowed to share that information with parents unless a child gives them explicit permission to do so. And I want to pull up the bill right now. Do we have it on screen? Awesome. Okay, so let's pull up the bill. I'm just going to pluck a few things. The irony of all of this, and I want all of you to weigh in, the irony is that legislatures have identified this as the Safety Act, okay? Support, and that acronym stands for Support Academic Futures and Educators for Today's Youth Act. Again, safety. We all want safety for our children. I want safety for my children. I want safety for their religious beliefs, for instance. I also want safety for kids and families who are experiencing gender identity issues, okay? I do want safety for them. We all, as parents, want safety for all of our children, no matter what your perspective. But the word safety, in the context of this bill put forth, now law, in California, is word twisting. So let's go to Section 2, Part E. Actually, let me read this first part. Legislative Council's Digest. I'm just going to read this first part so we get a sense of it in case you're not in California. This bill would prohibit school districts, county offices of education, charter schools, and the state special schools, and a member of the governing board or body of those educational entities from enacting or enforcing any policy, rule, or administrative regulation that requires an employee or contractor to disclose any information related to a pupil's sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression to any other person without the pupil's consent unless otherwise required by law, as provided. Prohibits educators from sharing information about students, minors under the age of 18, with their own parents. Okay, so now let's go to Section 2, Part E. I want to walk you through this. Part E, policies that forcibly, quote unquote, out pupils without their consent. Remove opportunities for LGBTQ plus young people and their families to build trust and have these conversations when they are ready. Let's talk about face to face here. Let's talk about when this bill describes that children are being forcibly outed, it's false. It's not without consent, because the reality of it is if a student is going to a teacher, okay, they must have felt ready enough to share their story with their peers and with their world at school. And if they're out at school, if they're informing their teachers, their peers, their classmates, if they are informing people at school about their sexual orientation or gender identity, then informing the parents about what's already going on and public information at that child's school is decent common sense. Let's just break it down and be let's have common sense about this. It's decent common sense. There was a time, let's not forget, not too long ago, when keeping secrets from parents was considered predatory, okay? If you want to talk about safety, let's put it in those terms. Okay, I want to jump back into the legislative document now and just briefly go to Section 2, Part G. I encourage you to read all of this, okay? Part G, pupils have a constitutional right to privacy when it comes to sensitive information about them, and courts have affirmed that young people have a right to keep personal information private. I agree with the right to privacy. Everyone deserves privacy. Pupils have a constitutional right to privacy when it comes to sensitive information about them. I don't disagree, but here's the caveat to that. Pupils are minors. They can't buy alcohol. They can't buy cigarettes, they can't get tattoos, they can't vote. Most of them, kindergarten through 12th grade, most of them cannot drive a car, right? So guess who else has constitutional rights? Parents. The 14th Amendment of our U.S. Constitution, Due Process Clause, protects parents' fundamental right to direct the care and control of their children. Forcing parents to relinquish our right to be informed about raising our own kids must be rejected. I don't care if you're in California where this law has already passed, or if you're in another state and you're looking at California saying, what the heck is going on in California? It is unconstitutional, as it has been interpreted by legal scholars in our 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause. It is unconstitutional to keep sensitive information about students, minors, from parents. And we have to continue to insist on parental notification policies concerning gender identity issues, whether or not you are in California and whether or not you already have laws or directives that are trying to oust parents from our schools. As parents, everyone knows, and leave a comment if you've experienced this. Our children are not allowed to cross the street outside of their campuses without a signed permission slip from us. Our children are not allowed to take a Tylenol for a headache on campus without signed permission from we, the parents. So when we're talking about privacy and rights, yes, yes, yes. However, let's get back to basics. I encourage you again to read AB 1955, signed into law in California. So as dismal as this all sounds, right, there's already pushback. Chino Valley Unified School District, with their board president, Sonia Shaw, who I incidentally just had the very grateful opportunity to talk to in I want to say it's a 45-minute conversation, which is going to go onto our parent alert page on our prageru.com website in the next few weeks. So the Chino Valley Unified School District, with their board president, Sonia Shaw, and the Liberty Justice Center have filed a lawsuit against Governor Newsom, pushing back against this AB 1955. Let's bring up the lawsuit info right now. Do you love that I have my papers, by the way? You can leave comments about, Jill, why do you have papers when there's a computer screen in front of you? I love it. I'm old school. I can't help it. Raise your hand if you enjoy paper. Okay, so here we go. Let's bring up the lawsuit info from Liberty Justice Center. So the law was signed by Governor Newsom, AB 1955, ousting parents from being informed about their own children's gender identity issues that may be happening at school. That law was signed, I believe it was July 15th. Okay, this is bad news in education for summer of 2024. However, the good news is that on July 16th, the day after, Liberty Justice Center filed a lawsuit. Okay, they filed a lawsuit against this wrongful ousting of parents. Pre-K through 12 minor students, most of whom are too young to drive, vote, or provide medical consent for themselves, are also too young to make life-altering decisions about their expressed gender identity without their parents' knowledge. But that is precisely what AB 1955 enables. This is from Liberty Justice Center, with potentially devastating consequences for children too young to fully comprehend them. And the name of the lawsuit filed is Chino Valley Unified School District versus Newsom. So this goes back to and my forthcoming interview with Sonia Shaw, who is school board president in Chino Valley Unified School District here in Southern California. This AB 1955 is a result of a parental notification policy that Sonia Shaw's school board in Chino Valley Unified School District passed almost a year ago in the summer of 2023. The Chino Valley Unified parents with the school board partnered to say that parents must be informed about children's gender ideology, gender issues that they may or may not be having at school. And they passed a parental notification policy saying that teachers must inform the parents in a private manner. In a private manner. California's Attorney General Rob Bonta and California's State Superintendent of Education Tony Thurmond struck back immediately against Chino Valley Unified last summer, 2023, claiming all these irrational things about, Chino Valley's trying to out students without their consent. No. Go back if you want the background. We talk about this in the interview with Sonia Shaw coming on our PragerU Kids Parent Alert in the next few weeks. But go back, read the parental notification policy. You can find it online. Google Chino Valley Unified Parental Notification Policy from 2023. Read that policy and then go back and read the AB 1955 law that California Governor Newsom signed into effect, prohibiting teachers to inform parents about what's going on with their own kids at school. AB 1955 is a direct result of Chino Valley Unified's parental notification policy from last year. So the good news is that we have opportunities as parents and educators to reject this radicalism being pushed through our schools to essentially separate parents and families from their own children and divide them. We continue to express vocal opposition, and now with this lawsuit from Liberty Justice Center against the state of California, Governor Newsom, against AB 1955, legal action is being taken. So as dismal as this all sounds, good things are in fact happening. I like to say God is working. So more good news this summer. I just want to share with you a few things. First off, let me see if I can, if you're watching live on YouTube, I'm going to try and see if I can find the comments I actually usually follow the comments on Facebook, but since we're not live on Facebook today, I'm having producer Jace, I can't find the comments. It's A-okay. I'll respond to the comments after the... Oh, do you have it? Oh, producer Jace, thank you. I'm borrowing the phone. Let's take a look at some of your comments on YouTube. Okay, let's see. I always feel like an old lady scrolling these comments. Don't laugh at me, but you can leave a comment making fun of me if you want to. Oh, let's see. Okay, so happy I don't live in California anymore. I understand. We are here in the belly of the beast, but fair warning, cautionary tale. What happens in California usually does spread to the rest of the nation. So I encourage anyone not in California to really be on alert and stay informed and stay active so that we can really keep all of this radicalized nonsense being forced upon our children through our schools at bay across the country. Let's see. There's some funny comments on here. California needs enema and a flush. Oh my! Should I have read that out loud? I don't know. I don't know. May the Holy Spirit cover and strike Newsom's plan to destroy children in Jesus' name. Amen. Keeping secrets from parents is predatory. That hasn't changed. Thank you for that comment. It is predatory. It hasn't changed. All right, Jace, I will safely put your phone on the corner here. Thank you. I wish you guys could meet Jace one day. Okay, so I do want to share some more good news because, again, as dismal as this all sounds in California, we do have some good news and some good news that happened this summer that did actually stem from another Southern California school district. Get this. Some of you may have already heard about this. In May 2024, a Southern California PE teacher named Jessica Tapia won a settlement from being wrongfully fired from her school district for sharing her religious beliefs on her own time. Take a look at this article from the LA Times. Jerupa, is it Yerupa or Jerupa? I think it might be Jerupa, as I question out loud. If you know, leave it in the comments. If it's Yerupa or Jerupa Unified School District here in Southern California, they are going to pay teacher Jessica Tapia $360,000 to settle for her settlement in a lawsuit from Jessica, who was a teacher who was fired after refusing to follow policies related to transgender and gender nonconforming students. And this was reported by the Los Angeles Times, by CBS News, by KCAL, by more across the country. This particular story was also very interesting because Jessica Tapia was on one of my recent Parent Alert conversations on our website, prageru.com/parentalert. And it's funny because when this story first broke, it was interpreted by mainstream news media that Jessica was actually refusing to, they accused Jessica of outing students without their consent. And that was not the real story about what happened at all. She shares her real story about how she was sharing her religious convictions on her own time. And there was a whole story that you can watch on prageru.com/parentalert with Jessica Tapia. But she was sharing her own religious beliefs on her own time, and the school district wrongfully terminated her. So now Riverside County School District has agreed to pay her $360,000 to settle a lawsuit because she was fired wrongfully. She taught physical education at Jurupa Valley High School, and she claimed in her wrongful termination lawsuit that her free speech and religious rights were violated. What she did, the reason they fired her is because administration allegedly called her in for a meeting. This is according to a story that she told me, which you can watch. Administration called her into a meeting and said, if one of your PE students wants to use a different locker room or a restroom, would you keep that information private from their parents? And she said, no, I cannot do that in good conscience. So it was a hypothetical situation where she refused to adhere to suggestions and directives. This was not law at this point. She refused to comply with directives and suggestions should she have been put in that situation. And she was essentially terminated over that. So the win that many people are saying is now setting a precedent is that she she essentially is the school district settled with her because they could not win. Moving on to more good news nationally. Now, this July. By the way, if you know Jessica Tapia, go ahead and leave a comment. And if you followed that case or if you are in that Riverside County school district in Southern California, I want to know, because these are good news. These are good news instances that are happening. Okay, so now, national news. So that was good news from California. National news this July. Congressman Burgess Owens of Utah launches a merit caucus to promote the restoration of high expectations in K through 12 schools. I want to jump up and down screaming, but I can't because my computer would fly, of course. I want to jump up and down screaming with joy because of this. High expectations, meritocracy, this is something that has always been so close to our hearts and is one of the literal foundations of why we created PragerU Kids. To understand that meritocracy matters. I'm gonna say I keep saying that it's like a kitschy cliche phrase. Meritocracy matters. I love saying it. But take a look at this. And this article is from the Deseret News. Merit Caucus plans to push back against lowering standards in education. I'll just read a little bit of this article to you. In his time on the Education Committee, Representative Burgess Owens has talked about meritocracy as the key to creating a strong country. Yes, thank you. As schools nationwide integrated diversity, equity, and inclusion-based policies and curriculums with critical race theory into their systems. So, tenacity and grit are crucial to the path of success, said Owens. The Utah congressman said he decided to put together the Merit Caucus to start conversations about overcoming challenges through hard work and rejecting notions of racism when it comes to high standards and expectations. And this article, which we have shared, goes on to describe how, how he views America as the land of equal opportunity. It's not the land of equal outcome. And this is something that, frankly, we have always talked about at PragerU Kids, both in my parent alert videos and my interviews and conversations that I share with you on social media, and in our children's content on PragerUkids.com. We talk about hard work. We talk about responsibility. We talk about how the foundation of this country is situated on the fact that we are all created equal under God. And what that means is that yes, some people experience more challenges and hardship than others, but America is the only country where you can work hard and meritocracy will get you further along the path for your goals and where you want to end up. And it's up to each one of us, our children, and the responsibility that we instill in them so that they can understand what meritocracy means and that meritocracy is achievable. Okay? So, before I go, I want to remind you to share all of these ideals with our children this summer. I mean, we're talking about these dismal laws passing in California with ousting parents from knowing about what's going on with their children at school. We're talking about the, AB 1955 prohibiting educators from forming a relationship of transparency with the parents and families at their schools. Yet, through those dismal policies and laws that are being passed, not only in California, but also across the country, you also have parents mobilizing like never before. Like never before. Liberty Justice Center is filing a lawsuit rejecting keeping parents away from the information about their students at schools, okay? We're talking about PE teacher from Southern California, Jessica Tapia, essentially winning her lawsuit, winning a settlement of $360,000 that really affirms that religious freedom is not second class. We're talking about Congressman from Utah, Burgess Owens, establishing a merit caucus to ensure that K through 12 schools across the country reinstate the values of hard work and meritocracy and high expectations. These are all good things that have awakened parents and families and good educators who want to see families succeed and want to see transparency in schools. These are all good things. And the fact of the matter is, the reason I think why so many things have gone so far off course is because my generation had never learned about how our system of government worked. We never understood that. We never understood how to understand civics, how to understand what diversity of thought means. We never understood how to vocalize, the rights and the wrongs in our own communities and in our schools. And so I challenge you, parents, this summer, teach your children all of the things that fell through the cracks with us, okay? This was one of our biggest whys for creating PragerU Kids. We have this awesome Red, White, and You challenge happening this summer with your kids, to share with your kids curated videos 5 to 10 minutes a day, because we, the parents, must teach our children how our system of government works. We need to teach them what diversity really means, not the phony meanings of diversity and inclusion that they've been brainwashed with, that are radicalizing our schools to divide parents and children and families against each other. We're talking about the real meanings of diversity of thought, difference of opinions, civil discourse, what rights we have protected by our U.S. Constitution, including our parental rights. I truly believe that the reason why so many educational policies have gone so far radically, so quickly, is because we have come from an entire generation who never learned civics. And I'm part of that generation. You may be too. And I will be damned if my kids are not going to learn what I missed out on. Because the future of our country literally depends on our children understanding what our country is, what America is, the good parts and the bad parts, but how our system of government works. And our kids, we have to raise our kids to course correct what is going wrong so that we can have an America in the future. And this is why we created PragerU Kids for free. Check out our videos, our Red, White, and You challenge this summer. If you sign up, it's all free. The videos just get delivered to your inbox weekly, so that there's no questions. And they're videos about civics, financial literacy, freedom, equality under God, all of those things and more. Okay, I want to see if there's any more comments to read before we wrap up. Let's see. Oh, Jace, your phone is here. Thank you, sir. God bless California babies. California Christian parents, wake up. Bible first, kids believe in Christ. Bible bases the Constitution. All right. Good comments here. Thank you for the comments. If you are watching this video later, please continue to leave your comments, because we always try to respond to them, and we do value freedom of speech. And if you don't agree with us, I may not agree with you, but I will always defend your ability to say it. Thank you for your support. As always, stay informed, equipped, and active in what's going on in education. As I continue to mention, I have all sorts of conversations and interviews about education issues on prageru.com/parentalert. Everything from what's driving gender ideology in schools, how to audit your school's library, raising your kids with truth to defend Western values. There is a fiery interview, our most recent interview with Sharon Yadigar of LA Mom Magazine on prageru.com/parentalert now, talking about Western values in Israel and freedom and truth. And it's really, you don't want to miss it. It's fiery. It's gotten a lot of people going on Instagram. So get all of your information, get equipped for back to school, be hopeful. Despite the dismal things happening in our education system, I remain hopeful, because more and more people, by the hundreds, by the thousands, by the millions, are really waking up and vocally opposing and actively opposing through legislation and otherwise, and through lawsuits and otherwise, we are course correcting our education system slowly but surely. So get everything delivered to your inbox, prageru.com/parentalert. Thank you for your support, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.